Hi, it's Peter Chapman from SKUFood, and I want to welcome you to another one of our SKUFood Recipes for Success, which are presented by FCC. It's our way at SKUFood to try to give back a little bit to the food and beverage processing and production communities as we struggle through trying to survive the onset of this COVID-19, which has had such a profound impact from one end of our value chain to the other. And it's our way to try to share some insights and help you with your food and beverage products so that you can really try to make the best of a difficult situation. And depending on where you sell your products and what kind of channels you're selling into, some people have seen spikes and some people have seen decreases. But we're trying to put these sessions on for you to try to provide some insights that you can take and implement in your business right away. And one thing I always want to remind you about our recipes for success is that they're meant to be for you. So if you have questions or comments, then by all means put them into the Q&A, and we'll take a pause at certain points and certainly address those questions for you, because it's important that we provide information that's relevant to you. And so I'm really excited for our third week now to have Carolyn Crew from Duckish back with us again. So Carolyn, welcome.
Thank you.
It's great to see you again. And I know from some of the emails that I've been getting, we've been getting a lot of great comments. I think actually some people want Carolyn to start hosting the Recipes for Success, and then maybe I could just come back in as a guest appearance once in a while. So,
oh, well, that's very flattering. Thank you.
So thank you for all your insights. And I think what people appreciate so much is that you're doing this stuff, and it's not sort of the textbook, it's that you're doing it. So we really appreciate you being here to share your insights. And maybe before we get into sort of that whole e-commerce part, maybe just tell us a little bit about Duckish and what you do with your business.
Sure. So the company is called Duckish Natural Skincare, and we like to think of ourselves as having a unique kind of take on a lot of the traditional body care products that are out there. So we do body care, bath care, and some baby care as well. We're based in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and we've been around since 2015. Lots of things have happened in that time frame, as I'm sure you can imagine. But we sell our products right now e-commerce, which is what we started with. We sell them on Amazon. We sell them through subscription boxes. We sell them wholesale via distributor and directly, and we recently just got on the shelves of Sobeys across Atlantic Canada. So it's crazy times.
It is, yeah. But I think the great thing about being diversified like that is that you do, if one segment is struggling a little bit, then you do have different segments that hopefully will pick up. So that's
yes,
I think it's an important part of the model. So great. And I'm sure, I know that people are actually been looking for some of your products, I think, as a result of our session. So that's good. So hopefully we'll drive a little bit of sales for you too.
Cool. That's fine.
And our
wonderful. I'll take that.
Good. You always got to be focused on sales, right? So
that's true. Yeah.
So SKUFood is meant to be an online community for producers and processors, and we really try to help you understand your customers, the retailers, and then also the consumers. And I use my background from over 30 years in retail. I started working at a store, worked for about 19 years with Loblaw companies, and then since that time I've had the privilege of working with producers and processors across Canada, and also speaking to groups across Canada. And I think with this whole onset of having to stay home, my work has changed. Like many of you, your businesses have changed. And I'm here doing my work at home as opposed to traveling and speaking, which I miss that part of it. I really miss the opportunity to meet producers and processors across the country, learning about their businesses. So, but we all have to adapt, and that's what we have to do. So one component of our Recipes for Success, which is very exciting for me, is that our program is presented by FCC. And it's important, I think, that people understand that FCC is really the only Canadian lender that's 100% invested in Canadian agriculture and food. And you're probably familiar with FCC's support of agriculture, which is their core business, but FCC also supports the whole ecosystem that surrounds that. And they finance food processors, manufacturers, wholesale, distribution companies, equipment, and packaging suppliers. And they really work with customers at every stage of that life cycle, from a small artisanal business that's just getting started right up to large companies who are exporting globally. And they also offer financing options that include assistance for cash flow, equipment, inventory financing, expansion, and construction, real estate property startup, and diversification, and probably a lot more too, because they're in the financial world, and that's a challenging place to be these days as people try to adapt their businesses and survive changes in volume and production. So if you need any help with that, I'm sure that the folks at FCC would be excited to have a conversation with you about it. And as we look at the makeup of the people who've been attending our Recipes for Success, I think, Carolyn, you've attracted a crowd who are doing maybe some more online selling now that some of the other channels are challenged a bit. And it's been great. I think we probably have around 25% of the people watching are selling on their own e-commerce site. So about 1 out of 4 are selling on their own site. Probably half of our crowd are looking at it as an option, but not doing it today. And then we also have about 25% are people who would support industry and in different functions. So we can tailor our comments to that, and I'm sure we'll get some interesting questions from people who are doing it too. So with regards to your own e-commerce site, what if we were to sort of think about 3 or 4 important things that you see as really being what people should focus on, what are those topics, those sort of big headings that we can have a conversation about today?
Sure. It's a good question. I would say making sure that you choose the right platform, that it has the functionality that you need. I would say marketing is definitely going to be a huge part of your successful equation.
Right.
Sorry, there's a toddler back there.
That's okay.
How fulfillment, I think, is a big deal in that it can eat up a ton of your time. But you still have to do it. So making that as seamless as possible. And then I would say you always have to think about and keep the communication channel going with the people who are actually buying from you, because if you don't, then you could be missing out on opportunities both online and offline. But the only way to really kind of make sure that you are set up for success long-term is to kind of have that ongoing dialogue with the people who are buying from you.
Yeah, I think that one for me. I think as people kind of look at this as an option in their business, exploring which platform to go with, and fulfillment and driving traffic to the website, those are all things they could probably would have on their radar. But that last one about learning from these people is so important. And I remember doing some research for it was in the protein bar category actually, and it was one of the large companies in the U.S. And they said that they made it part of their model that they wanted to have 20 to 25% of their volume right off their own e-commerce site, because they felt that kept them connected with the consumer and being able to interact and
absolutely.
So great.
Crucial.
Okay. So in terms of, if we go back to the beginning and try to find that e-commerce platform, how did you do it at Duckish?
Yes. So like I mentioned, the e-commerce site was the first kind of foray into our business. So for us at the time, it was really a choice between Shopify and BigCommerce.
Okay.
There are other e-commerce platforms that have arisen since then. But for us, it was a question of, okay, here's what we need our website to do. It needs to have a really clean, seamless experience for the customer. It needs to ensure that, the payment area of the website looks professional and trustworthy. Is it easy to navigate? And then on the back end, like, how does it make my life as the business owner easy and seamless between receiving the order, getting the payments, fulfilling the order, sending, the order confirmations and shipping confirmations, just the basic things that you need your website to do. If you have that kind of list of functionality that you want, then it's easier to make a choice and decide, because if one platform doesn't have the ability to do this, then obviously that helps you narrow down your options. The other thing that I think is important, especially now, it existed then, but your business is going to grow. So the way to take your existing e-commerce platform and add additional functionality is through apps. So just having a look at what that potential additional functionality you think you could need, as you grow. I know it's hard to predict the future, but just to think about it. And just kind of see what apps are out there within that ecosystem to ensure that your website, your e-commerce platform can grow with you.
Sure. And there are
those are the things,
certain apps that work with certain platforms.
Absolutely. They're built for certain platforms.
Okay. So it's making that list of what's important on the e-commerce platform itself, but then also what are the extensions of that fit.
Absolutely. So kind of like Shopify, for example, and again, I get nothing for like touting Shopify or choosing Shopify. We've been using it and I really like it. They have their own app store.
Oh, okay.
Right. So, just like Apple has their own app store and Google has their own app store, Shopify has their own app store. So for us, we knew that we wanted to continue growing our retailer network. So we knew that eventually we probably need an app that would be a store locator for someone to type in their postal code and figure out if there's a store near them that carried our products. So we knew starting out, we could just use probably a simple list, but that it would probably hopefully get a little more complex.
Yeah.
Right. So just kind of checking out what's out there to see if we could add that functionality quickly and easily, and also get a sense of how much all of these bells and whistles are going to cost.
And how do you sum up the cost? Is there an upfront number for Shopify and then you pay for apps, or do you pay monthly for Shopify? How does it work?
So I don't remember. I don't think there was anything upfront. With Shopify specifically, it's a subscription model. So you pay monthly for your subscription. The apps that you add on to your store to give you that additional functionality are also subscription model. So it depends. Some of them are like $5 a month. Some of them can be, $50 a month. It just depends, but it can add up really, really quickly. The other thing to keep in mind as a seller in the Canadian ecosystem is that Shopify and all the apps operate in US dollars.
Oh, nice.
So that, that $29.95 is actually going to be closer to $40 Canadian.
That's right.
Right. So those are the kinds of things that can add up really, really quickly. And you really have to kind of keep an eye on it.
Okay. Yeah. And once you got it set up, and I'm sure there's a lot of work up front.
Yes.
I think that my understanding of Shopify, there you can customize, right? Your look and everything.
Yep. So what you do is you buy there are free themes. So the theme is what the customer would see when they're just surfing the internet, right? The images, the colors, the typefaces, all those sorts of things. That's handled by a theme, like a structure to the website. You can get free ones, like I mentioned. You can also buy them. But it's up to you to kind of customize them. So if the theme you bought is all black, for example, all of the type, all of the headings, all of the little kind of accessories, if you will, are black, and your brand colors are blue and yellow, you would have to figure out how to change those things. You would have to update the photos to be your photos, and then the text to be your text. So it's not always rocket science. But it's something you'll have to do. There are people out there you can hire to help you with those things. Shopify also has a really great support. So if you're on the right track to kind of customizing something, but there's one last thing that you can't quite get, I went to them a million times to help me. But if you don't have a ton of time, there are tons of people out there that can help you update and modify that theme to have it look exactly like you want to look.
Right. Okay. And once you do that upfront, kind of create the page and set it up, how much work is it for you in Shopify in a average week, if there's such thing as an average week these days?
Yeah. On the website that customers see on the front end, we do very little. We may, depending, like I said, this idea of keeping the dialogue open with customers. If we hear over and over again that people are looking for a specific something, whether that's like a travel product or, whatever, and that isn't really mentioned in our product descriptions, we may tweak and adjust, but it's not something that we do very often. On the back end of Shopify, there's a dashboard where you see all of the parts of your website. So that could be how many orders you have to fulfill, your products, how many visitors have been to your site, how many sales you've had that day. There are little reports you can generate. So just like any dashboard for any kind of software, it's an at a glance look at what's happening in your store.
Do you want me to put that? Do you want me to put that up on the screen?
Sure,
I have it here, so we can.
That would make a lot of sense.
Share it with people.
Absolutely. Okay, so this is just a screenshot from our website. And so on the left side, you'll see the menu, and it'll tell you exactly how many orders, if you need to update anything about your products, the images, the text, your inventory levels, all those things can be controlled under that products tab. Customers, if someone emailed you and said, hey, I didn't get my order, you could look at how many orders they've made, what kinds of things, find anything you need to find pertaining to your customers. Analytics is where you can generate some reports. The complexity of the reports you can generate depends on your subscription level. So obviously, like the more you pay, the fancier your subscription, the fancier the analytics get,
Sure. I'm sure they introduce really exciting new ones every once in a while.
But I found, and I've asked around a lot about this, you can get many of the same reports and even fancier through Google Analytics, which is free. So just kind of something to think about. Marketing, they didn't have this in the beginning when we set it up, but have introduced it in the past couple of years. Little bells and whistles that you can use to market your website, your products online. Discounts if you want to offer customers coupon codes. And then in the apps little section, that's where you have all the other bells and whistles in terms of functionality that you can add. But really this dashboard, like I said, it gives you a view, quick and easy, of what is happening with your store at that exact moment. And yeah, it's pretty easy, seamless, helpful. Yeah.
And I think we have a list of the apps if you want me to.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
There we are.
So we have 14 apps in general here. Some of them are free, some of them are paid. And again, it's really depends on what you need as a business. So for us, we ship to the United States as well. So we wanted to make sure that an American customer can buy from our website just as easily as a Canadian customer. So what this does, it allows them to see what they would be paying in US dollars for each of our products. Chit Chat's eShipper are all about shipping. So they integrate with Shopify's platform, and they'll automatically pull out customer information, addresses, that kind of thing, to help make the finding of a shipping rate a little easier. If you want to do Google Shopping advertisements, these apps all help your website talk to these other organizations. There are a couple other ones. So Order Printer takes the order and automatically creates a really professional looking packing slip. It integrates with QuickBooks. The store locator tool that I mentioned, we have one of those now. And the only other one that I think is worth mentioning is it's called Infinite Options. So we do a lot of gift sets and bundles on our website. So this free app allows you to give the customer the ability to choose. So if you want bath bombs, we have 4 different kinds of bath bombs. So you can pick and choose exactly what scent you want for each of the products that comes in that gift set or bundle.
All right. So that allows the customer to pick what they want, and then, but it also gives you the right instructions so that you get the right one in the box.
Exactly. On the back end, when they make their order, if they ordered 3 of our mini lotion sticks, it tells me what scent for each of them.
Okay, great.
So free app makes it a lot easier for the customer to get what they want, and also makes it really easy for me as the person fulfilling the orders to know what to put in the box.
Right.
So, but this list can get huge. Obviously, it's really easy to find an app to do whatever it is you want. And like I said, it can get really expensive. So you really have to make sure that whatever tool, app you're adding is actually bringing you a return in some way, shape, or form. The other thing to keep in mind is that the more apps you add on, the slower it can make your website.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Right. So these are like just things you have to keep in mind. But it's really infinite what you can do via the apps they have available.
And I thought it's interesting that Shopify have their own app store,
Mm-hmm.
because then I would think it might narrow down the choice a little bit. So you're not looking at the entire Google App Store or whatever. You can at least
Yep.
focus on a few, right?
Shopify is now worth more than most banks as a company. So app developers are dying to get their apps into the Shopify store. So don't think it's going to be an issue.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just going to look and see if we've got any questions. And I do see one where the person is asking about currency. You mentioned you had the currency exchange there.
Yes.
Do you put items on your website only in Canadian dollars, or do you put different currencies on there?
So that currency app, so the last time I checked, if you go to a store, an online store that the back end is Shopify, you can show the customer the price in any currency on earth if you want to.
Okay.
But you can only charge in one currency.
Oh, I see. All right.
Okay, because your store is linked with your bank, and if you're not in the States, then you don't have an American bank account. So you have to pick one currency that your store will take. So this app will show the currency in Canadian dollars to an American customer. And what it will do is obviously switch it, convert it to what the equivalent would be in US dollars, and enables them to buy our goods. It's still going to be in Canadian dollars, but it allows that American customer to see what it would be in US.
Right. Okay. Great. So,
yeah.
So you've got this platform built now. You've got the e-commerce part of it built. Now, how are you driving people to your website so that they buy?
Yes, that is a complicated. That's a
In
whole
10
other
minutes
thing.
or less.
Sure. So we've tried a bunch of things. We don't do a ton of paid marketing. We're starting to kind of dip our toes more into it. So things that we always go back to, like, who is our customer, right? That is going to be the foundation of any kind of marketing activity, because we want to make sure that we are spending our time and energy, or money in the case of paid advertising, to bring the right people to our website, not just to bring people to our website.
Right.
Because ultimately you want the people who are coming to your website to be interested in what you have to offer, and as a result, more likely to convert or buy. So our marketing efforts have always come back to, like, who are we trying to speak to? So things that have worked really well for us, which we don't have to go into a lot of detail obviously right now, because we'll talk another time about it, but has been subscription boxes. So for those of you who maybe aren't familiar with a subscription box company, it's a business, and what they do is they curate a selection of products, usually around a theme, right? And their customers will buy these boxes either one-off or as a subscription model, like a couple times a year. They'll get a box full of, beautiful whatever things. And these subscription boxes are constantly looking for new products to provide their customers with.
So you sell your product to them, and
yes.
And so it's kind of like a paid demo.
Exactly. So demonstration has been great. The trick with subscription box is that there's a lot of them out there that want you to give products for free, which we're not buying that. But it has worked because we make these little products. It's a solid lotion, right? So you take the cap off, you rub a little bit in, really effective, really concentrated. But what you see as a photo on our website and a description doesn't necessarily capture, what it is that's so amazing about the product, right? That's the hard thing about selling online. It's different than being able to physically pick it up or smell it or try it out, right? So demos, getting in front of the public as much as we can, has always been really successful for us, because people they want to touch it, they want to smell it, right? So that's why subscription boxes have been a really great option for us, because it gets a sample into someone who is already into health and wellness or whatever sport things that are tied to our own customer demographics, what we know about our customers. So we try to work with subscription boxes that their end customer is the same as ours.
Okay.
To be able to get a demo into their hand. We've done a little bit of paid Facebook advertising and Google AdWords advertising. We've had some wins, some losers on that front, but we have a much better understanding of what it is we need to do now with it, which is why we're thinking about giving it another go, because we've learned a lot along the way. Other things we've done, like I said, getting in front of the public. So holiday time, we always do pop-up shows, holiday shows, to be able to talk to people, get out there. That goes a really long way. We do a lot of trade shows to get in front of your, B2B retailer audience, which again, you're having a conversation about your business, about your products. So counts as marketing. It's been a lot of word of mouth. We do have a thing on our website, which is potentially annoying, but it's the dreaded pop-up.
I can put it up so people can see it.
Sure. I mean, I'm sure everybody has experienced the pop-up in their life. But there's a reason why brands use them. It's because it works.
That's right.
So basically what we do is try to incentivize people to join our mailing list by giving them a coupon code that arrives in their email once they've subscribed to our list. And email is a huge deal. Pretty much every single time we've sent an email, we have about, I want to say, just under 1,000 subscribers.
All right.
So still pretty small potatoes, but it's grown slowly and surely. So I feel like the people that are on our list like genuinely like what we're doing and are excited about what we're doing. But we like to think of ourselves as creating delightful products. So what we do is, the hook ideally is to give you 15% off your first order, which is lovely. It helps you try our products out for the first time and, experience the delight yourself, so to speak. But then in our newsletters, we send them maybe once or twice a week, or once every 2 weeks, depending on what else we have happening.
Sure.
And it's either to give a quick, easy update about like something cool that just happened as it relates to our business. We do subscriber only sales. So we pretty much never have like a markdown on our website itself. It's usually exclusive for people on our mailing list, which is another reason to kind of stay a part of our community. And those things, like every time we send a newsletter, like I said, we make a sale, but we try to really respect the fact that, you've trusted us with your email address. So sometimes we just we find something delightful on the internet, like something cute. And that's the only thing in the newsletter, is this fun thing that hopefully makes you laugh, which I think is especially, nice when many things are very depressing.
That's right.
So the newsletter has been a really strong kind of marketing tool, but also like a brand development tool, we feel. And I would say those are probably the most common things that we've used. We've done a bits and pieces with influencers, but small. I'm not sure I'm buying into the spending, $10,000 for one Instagram post. I'm not convinced of that.
Right.
So bits and pieces on the smaller kind of influencer thing, which we may explore again at some point. But I think that kind of captures the bulk of the activities that we've done. So not a huge investment.
Right.
Slower, but quality.
And always with that focus of building the brand, but I would assume that you will always be trying to push them gently, nudge them, we'll say, back to your site, so that where the purchase can be made.
Yeah. The other thing that comes to mind on the marketing front, so we have a Canadian Amazon store and an American Amazon store. And they just started in November of last year. And we do paid advertising on Amazon, but as a result of being on Amazon and getting exposure that way, that also brings awareness to your own website, right? People are
Sure.
looking for your brand.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty much impossible to calculate like how many people come to our website from Amazon, because Amazon gives you nothing on those kind of details.
Mm.
But it's definitely builds brand awareness, which can have this trickle down effect to your own e-commerce site.
Right, right. Okay. No, that's great. And I think that it's definitely, people can't lose sight of how important it is to bring them back to their site, and bringing the right people, which when you back it up again, it is all about defining that target market.
Absolutely.
So you really know who you're going after.
Yep.
So, all right,
Totally
before
agree.
we talk about the exciting topic of fulfillment, which I know is a great one, let me just
So
check and
exciting.
see if we've got any questions. And there is one question. Somebody was asking about your perspective on the return on investment for going to the shows. So I guess they're talking trade shows, or there's trade shows and there's consumer shows. So
Sure.
two different things.
In our experience on the consumer show, we only really do them around the holidays. Because we do a lot of gift. We have a lot of nice things that people use as gifts. We do really well. So the return on investment is definitely there on those. Even if we pay someone to either help us man the booth or man the booth entirely, it's completely worth it. Because it's also a marketing tool, right? You have a giant sign behind you and samples and like all that kind of stuff. So it's, helps kind of, if people weren't aware of your brand before, being there is a good way to spread the good word. On the retailer front, it's harder to measure. So we have done CHFA, which is the Canadian Health Food Association. We have done all of their shows twice. And we have a natural products distributor, and the whole kind of gamut. So you can get sales as a result of going to those shows, but it's hard to sometimes track if the sale came because you were physically at the show, or if people knew of you like from just being listed at the show or being listed with a distributor, or it's really hard to track unless you really remember having a conversation with this store owner or buyer. And then you see reports later on from the distributor that they bought, then that's, a pretty obvious one, but it is a little bit more nebulous.
Yeah, it's a journey, all these shows. I find that you can't look at it as sort of one and done, and especially in North America, where we seem more, we don't fill orders at shows. I've been to shows in Europe and you see people walking up and they're buying, there's purchase orders, and there's people are walking away with, container loads full of product that either they bought or somebody sold. And that doesn't seem to happen in North America the same way. It's a bit of a longer courting process.
Yeah, absolutely. In our experience, going to shows, there are lots of people who you will talk to that seem very interested, and you never hear from them again, right? And you think, okay, I guess they don't want to date me. They don't like me. That's fine. And then you see them at the next show, and you have another conversation with them again. And again, you think it went really well, but you don't get the call. And then the third time, they place a huge order. So what we have learned from talking to other vendors, which is one thing that I think is incredibly valuable, is talking to the other brands that you're next to, because some of them have been doing it longer. Some of them, are different industries. So there's a lot of like cross-pollination of ideas and connections. I think that's invaluable. But we've learned that there are some stores who want to see that you're going to last. That you're not just like a flash in the pan. So they want to see you at least 2 or 3 times before they're going to take that risk of placing an order with you. Because they want to know that they're going to be able to keep placing an order with you and that you're not going to just vanish.
Well, you might actually be talking to somebody who would have subscribed to that philosophy back in his retailer days, because it's a lot of work to bring on a new product line. If you're a retailer or a distributor, because you've got to make room, you've got to get the sales going, and it's another vendor to manage and all that. So you do want to have that confidence that the person's going to be there and also see their products a little bit perform in the marketplace. So there's some
Yep,
retailers who want to always be first, and that's part of their sort
that's
of
their thing.
positioning.
Hmm.
But I think that there are definitely others who are kind of like, I've been burned too many times with the fly by night and want to
Yep,
see it. So you want to have that, make sure they get the confidence that you're going to be
absolutely.
there. Yeah.
The other reason I think trade shows are hugely valuable, even if it's not from the sales kind of perspective,
Hmm.
is that you're going to learn from all the other vendors that you're surrounded by.
Sure.
The conversations you're going to have with potential customers are
Hmm.
gold,
Hmm.
right? What is that store looking for? You know, maybe they have this kind of product, but they're really looking for this kind of thing. And
Hmm.
you can never learn, like you're not going to be able to learn that in any other way.
Right.
So I feel like as a fact-finding mission to figure out what does my customer, and in this case, your customer is obviously like a retailer,
Hmm.
what do they want? What do they need? What are their customers looking for?
Hmm.
There's no other way you can get that information other than talking to people. So
Right.
ROI, difficult to track, but it
Hmm.
depends on if you're only looking at sales or if you're
Hmm.
looking at a bigger picture.
Yeah, and I think you have to definitely the bigger picture. So
Hmm.
so we'll go from the excitement and hustle and bustle of trade shows
Sure.
and travel and all those kind of things to fulfilling orders. So are you doing it
Sexy. Hmm.
yourself, or do you just, ship those orders off and you've got a magic factory somewhere that does it for you?
A magic, if only I had a magic factory. So Amazon fulfills our Amazon orders. So
Hmm.
that's my only magic factory.
All right.
For our own website, we fulfill the orders. And it seems like boring. It is, whatever, it's not rocket science. But you have to be really careful and not ignore it because it will eat up all of your time,
Hmm.
all of your time. So we actually worked with some industrial engineers from Dalhousie University here. We got a grant to do it to help us streamline a bunch of our processes. And one of those was the fulfillment process.
Hmm.
So what we did is we set up a room that has absolutely everything required to fulfill an order. So that means finished product, boxes, tape, the printer, bubble, whatever, like you name it.
Hmm.
It is all there, and it's all organized in such a way that, you start with your packing slip, then move on to your box, and it's all kind of lined up in a way
Hmm.
to make sure that you spend as little time as possible, walking over here to get this and walking over there to get that, because before you know it, your morning is gone
Right.
and you've only packed like 8 boxes.
Hmm.
So it's not a good use of your time. So if you are going to be the one to do it, streamlining it as best you can, is hugely advantageous. The other thing that will eat up your time as well is trying to find the best shipping rate.
Because you're paying for the shipping yourself.
Yeah,
So
right.
you want the best rate is puts money in your pocket if you can save something.
Absolutely. But then you get into the like, well, if I'm going to go to UPS already, but I can save 8 cents through Pure Later on this other box, is it worth it? Like, just insanity. So
Mm-hmm.
what we've decided basically is that if 8 out of 10 orders, the best rate is with UPS, then everything is being shipped UPS that day.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing, because you could spend all day long just trying to find the best shipping rate, and that kind of thing. And it's not a good use of your time. And also your time there's an opportunity cost, could be used to get more sales,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But instead you spent it packing boxes. So I try to keep it for times when I am, if I can, like brain dead. So the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
or if I have a day like today where my brain isn't working super well,
Yeah.
those are the times that I try to, like, if we have orders to pack, then I do what I can on that front, to make it go as quickly as possible and not use the best hours of my day on something like filling boxes.
Right. And one of the things that work when I'm working with different producers and processors, and they don't value their own time the way that
Mm-hmm.
they should. And we kind of say, we have expenses where we have to pay for things outside of the business, and those are costs which we can identify and say, okay, this costs $1,000 or something like that. But we don't understand, we don't quantify our own time the way that we should. And my advice always is to say, if you believe you should be making $50 an hour, then how much of that $50 is going to be put into packing a box? And so
Absolutely.
if it takes 5 minutes to pack a box, which is 1/12 of an hour, so 1/12 of $50 is, just over $4. So is the $4 built into your costs so that you really are accurately reflecting what it costs you? And or on the flip side, if it's not organized and you spend time running around doing things and it takes you half an hour, now it's cost you $25 to pack that box. And really try to think about distribution, because the beautiful point of when your business grows is that you're going to have to pay somebody to do this function. And
absolutely.
Then you've got it built into your cost, and you understand. Plus, I think it's important to pay ourselves for all the hard work we do.
Absolutely. The thing that we, when I mentioned we work with these engineers, one of them was very big into, your time comes at a cost. So if you would pay someone less, so if you would pay yourself $50 an hour and someone else $20 an hour, obviously, if that's something they can do, it's cheaper for them to do it than for you to do it. So just like the kind of cost benefit of delegating those kinds of tasks. But you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and
Cost.
it's big. And I'm just looking in the questions here because I want to also talk about the whole feedback thing from your consumers. But so one of the questions is just about shipping, and they said you had mentioned an app, and they just were wondering which one you use. I know we talked about it, I think, before, but which one it was. And
yep. So the one we tend to go to the most is one called eShipper. And what it does is you would type in or you pull out the customer information, the address, postal code, all those sorts of things, the package size, the package weight, and it will give you the rates for all of the shipping companies. So Canada Post, Purolator, FedEx, UPS, the whole kind of gamut. And you see which one is the cheapest, which one is the fastest, all in one place. That is the one we typically go to first, unless it's kind of something larger, like a pallet or, a big kind of size things. But for the day-to-day kind of individual orders, that's the one we typically go to. There's another service that exists here in Halifax. I know it's in a few other Canadian cities, but I'm not sure how extensive their reach is at this point. It's called Chit Chats Express, which is a weird name. I don't get it, but Chit Chats Express. And what they do is they're kind of like an aggregator. So all the shops that have, I have 4 packages to ship and you have 6 packages to ship and Joe down the street has 1 package, a couple times a week, they have drop spots where all the small businesses bring their packages. They get a discount. We get a discount for using their service. And I think what they do is they aggregate the packages, go to Canada Post and say, we have 1,000 packages to ship on Monday. And they get a better rate, which they then pass on to us. There's still hiccups. You have to wait a little while before you get tracking information and that kind of thing. But usually it's cheaper. And especially if you're shipping from Canada to the US, it's usually a lot cheaper to use Chit Chats.
Okay. All right.
My gift to you guys.
Yeah, that's right. Chit Chats. I'll have to check that out.
Chit Chats Express. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So now let's shift back to the consumer side. So you built this platform, you got the person to the website to buy.
Yes.
They did an order, you put it in the box in less than 5 minutes, you shipped it out at the most reasonable shipping.
Yes.
Now what do you do with these people? You got their money once. Are we done, or you keep going with them?
No, well, that's for a great example where your email list comes into play. So we've set up some automated things via our email list so that when you place an order, I think it's maybe 12 days after we ship the order, you should get an email asking like, what do you think? Can you leave us a review? So that's one kind of way that we try to do some more outreach. We have a couple of things planned to go a little bit further on the email front. to kind of keep the conversation going, but I just haven't had time to do any of those
You're
things
too
yet.
busy checking out Sobeys stores to make sure it's on shelf.
Yes, that's just one of the things. Yeah. So that is one way, but we take pretty much any opportunity we can to get in front of people and talk to them about what they're looking for with like skincare, period. And if they want to talk about what they love about what, our products, I love to hear that kind of thing too. But any opportunity to have that conversation. So it could be a pop-up shop, it could be a holiday show, it could be when I'm doing store visits and I see someone like, contemplating buying one of my products, which is very exciting. And if anyone sends us an email, whether it's someone that has purchased before and they have a question, or we get people that just write us saying like, oh my God, I love this. It's, helping my eczema or like whatever it is. I try to milk that conversation for as long as possible to just see what it is that's making them so excited and what other kinds of products are they looking for. And like, did they buy it online or did they buy it in a store, or just basically learn what I can, because all of that information is gold. One other thing that we've started doing this past year with the holiday shows is with these little lotion sticks that I mentioned, these little body bombs, the number of people that said, oh, this would be perfect for my purse, or this would be perfect for travel, or this would be perfect for my coat pocket, my desk drawer. We kept a record of all of the things people said, because now we have like, this is what people really think. So when we go to do more paid marketing or even our social media posts, we can insert that language and it makes it really relevant to people, because that's what people actually think.
That's what they're saying. So
yeah, that's what they're actually saying, right? So to kind of mirror that kind of language really, really helps. So talking to your customers, talking to people who are even like contemplating your products but haven't even bought them yet, or they buy similar products, is really, it's gold. It is absolute gold, because otherwise you're designing products like in the void. Right? You're designing them and you hope it sells, but you have no idea what people are actually looking for or what they're excited about. So you have to talk to people, in my opinion. It's scary sometimes, but you got to do it.
I know, but I think, one thing that always interests me, and I don't own a business that produces a product, but when I'm in stores with the people who do, I find it fascinating how consumers want to talk to the person who's responsible for it. They feel, I mean, I almost, it almost makes me mad, because I feel like that you get celebrity status and I don't get that. But for me, the people who are behind products, it's for a lot of consumers, it's really interesting to feel like they can have a bit of an impact.
And it's a really nice thing. Like when someone writes me to tell me how, like, our sticks or whatever it is, like, help their eczema, like that is like, that's wonderful. Like that's why we do this. So I enjoy having those conversations. They're usually pretty entertaining. So yeah, I like it.
Do you put anything in when you ship a package to somebody?
Yes.
Do you put anything into that?
Yes, I can show you actually. So we have a variety of these. This is just the box we're working on now. So each box we send out has a little card with a discount on it.
Oh, okay. For the next purchase.
For the next purchase, to incentivize the next purchase. Some people use them, some people don't. But I think it's a nice thing. We've had some people who were like, I don't need to use a discount, so I gave it to my friend, Cindy or whatever it is. So we do that. And then when we've had our products in subscription boxes or like that kind of thing, we'll put in some sort of something that usually has a code on it, either like, a free lip balm or a discount or whatever it is, that helps us track the effectiveness of getting a repeat purchase from that marketing activity. Yeah.
And it's, it's, I think, well proven that it's so much easier to get a purchase from somebody who's already got a relationship with you than to find the new ones, right?
Absolutely.
You need the new ones to keep going. But
the acquisition costs. Yeah. Yeah. So we do that kind of thing. We also do, when people buy gifts, they have the option on our website to put in a note for the recipient.
Okay.
So we'll do like a cute little customized note that goes in the box. We've done other things where we'll like, you know, wrap a box special, like whatever, but our whole kind of thing is just this idea of like delighting our customers in whatever way we can do that,
Mm.
going above and beyond to make sure that they're happy. So yeah, all of those little things, I think contribute to that.
For sure. So you write the
Yeah.
note out. So when somebody fills it out on the website, you write it out.
Yeah, sometimes we write it out. We recently, I use Canva. So
Hmm.
Canva is just like an online tool for creating visuals or whatever.
Hmm.
I created a little template, and now we can do them on like fancier paper and that kind of thing.
Hmm.
So anything that we can do to kind of like make it cute and delightful, like I said. But the idea of encouraging people to come back is a great thing. We used to do, I haven't done it this year, a few blog posts. If that's your thing, a blog is another huge undertaking if you want to do it well.
Hmm.
But even if it's something as simple as like, you know, a Mother's Day gift list, or you're going on vacation, like here are the top 10 things you need to have with you, or
Sure.
whatever it is, those sorts of things that are kind of evergreen content,
Hmm.
um, that you can share, and again encourage people to come back and visit your site for whatever reason.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Awesome.
all those things.
Well, I think that everybody should have a long list of things to do after today, after listening to you talk about
Yeah,
how you
sorry.
no, that's awesome. That's what they should be walking away with. And really, that list of what they want out of that e-commerce site, I think is a great suggestion. And then all the different tips you shared about
Hmm.
how to drive traffic to the site and the right traffic to the site, and then how to not
Yep.
spend time on fulfillment, to get that process
Yes.
designed so that they can do it quickly and efficiently, and as low cost as possible, but get it done right. And then
Yep.
also how to learn from these people who are buying and spending their money with you. So thank you
Hmm.
for all of your tips today and
You're
insights.
welcome.
And as I do every week, I just want to share, you used the word delightful a bunch of times today, and I think that we're seeing some delightful things going on in industry to help people survive through this whole pandemic. So I've been trying to share some good news every week. And some of the things that I came across this week are from Organica Health Products in BC. They hand delivered 18,000, that's a lot, of their new fave collagen cookies to frontline healthcare workers, and also donated $50,000 worth of product to Quest Food Exchange. So a great initiative on the West Coast. And then in the East Coast, we had Nadeau Poultry in New Brunswick, donated over 1,600 pounds of fresh poultry and Maple Lodge hot dogs to Humanity Project in Moncton, New Brunswick, to help feed people who are in need. So it was great that they did that. And then another example here in Nova Scotia was from Valley Flax Flour, who have a great product, which is a gluten-free product, so flax flour. And a big market for them would be healthcare and long-term care facilities. And we know some of the huge challenges that have been happening in long-term care facilities. So what they've done is made cookies out of their Valley Flax flour and put it in every case of product with a little note to say thank you to the healthcare workers. So I thought that was a great idea. They call them care cookies, and which was great. And then a little bit different in terms of maybe good news on the business side, but I think we have to respect the companies who are trying to change their model to adapt. And so Culinary Adventures is a company in Toronto who in the past would take people on food tours and show them artisanal products and different things like the St. Lawrence Market. But obviously now that's not going to happen, where we're not allowed to go out in more than the people you live with. So what they've done is they've curated boxes of artisanal products where they'll do, they have the one that I show there called Cheese and Cheers, which is some artisanal cheese with some great craft beverages. And they've curated these boxes, and apparently they sell out in minutes once they put them on their site. So they've changed their model to do this, and hopefully maybe that'll become a part of their business model going forward, even when they can take people back on some of the tours. And also, I wanted to share one that I found. And so this is from Carly Minish at Smack Dab. And Carly has a a great line of gourmet mustard products from Manitoba. And one of the things about the whole challenge of the pandemic is that we've had to rethink our businesses. And Carly is doing a great job of really providing information to consumers about cooking. And she did this whole piece on salad. And it's really like A to Z on how to make a great salad. And she talks about the greens that you use. She talks about the dressings. Oh, and by the way, you're supposed to use her mustard. She talks about the other things you can add. And she gives you so many options that it really is a great resource to people. And yes, it's promoting her mustard, but it's also a great resource. And I think consumers are much more interested in that kind of marketing than they are in just buy my mustard kind of marketing. So I think it's forced a lot of us to rethink our business, and sometimes good things come out of that. So if you haven't seen Smack Dab, check it out. They're great products and really innovative ideas too. And finally, I just want to invite you to our next Recipe for Success, which is presented by FCC. And next Wednesday, Carolyn's going to be back for her 4th week in a row. She's a regular. And we're going to talk about subscription boxes. And we talked about them a little bit today, but we're going to explore that whole option of subscription boxes and how it's benefited her business. And then maybe a few other online options as well that we'll have a chat about. So I hope you can join us then. And thank you again, Carolyn. Really appreciate your insights, and we will talk to you next Wednesday.
Pleasure.
All right.
Absolutely. Bye now.
Bye.